Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Set Lusting Bruce. That's right, we're still doing 30 for 30, 30 episodes of Bruce Springsteen talk in 30 days of November. And joining me today is, I believe, a first. I've got Ekaterina. E- I'm going to screw it up. There we go already. Kate, but it's Ekaterina from Russia joining me. How are you doing, Kate?
Oh, brilliant. Not complaining at all.
This is her second visit with us. We just did some research. It was 7 years ago. It was December 2017 when she was on. But in case someone hasn't heard that episode, I think you need to reshare the story from Russia. How did you find Bruce?
Oh, shut up. It's a long story. I thought it was saving that for next March.
We'll have you on again. What part of Russia are you from?
Moscow.
Okay, you're
So it will
actually
be
in
the
Moscow.
capital city. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, very nice. Wonderful. Tell us a little about yourself.
I wasn't expecting that. I was going to talk about Bruce mostly, but
Okay.
I live in Moscow all my life. If we talk about hobby, I've studied linguistics at the university, so maybe you could tell. Yeah, I have this family with my mom and my sister and my little sweet doggy. Pomeranian, and hobbies, I love traveling. So Bruce actually is trampoline to that. Whenever I see the tour, I say Bruce is going to that city. I've never been there before, so I would go and apart from the concert, do sightseeing. But anyway, I love British theatre. I always travel. I try to do that at least 3 or 4 trips. A year dedicated specifically just to go to the theatre venues and to see some new plays. And I have some friends in England and Ireland. And I love cooking, baking especially. I love creating new recipes. And my hero is Jamie Oliver. What else? Just love all things Brit. I love actually Ireland as well. It was one of the reason actually I chose this album because I think that's Ireland. I feel a connection to Ireland somehow. First time I was there, I would like I've been there. Maybe I was a sheep on some of the pastures green somewhere in Cork. I don't know. But I feel this connection deep inside my heart.
I love that. Have you thought much about why Ireland speaks to you so much?
I think it's one of those feelings of deja vu. I remember flying
Okay.
into Cork in 2012, like in this little Aer Lingus planes, they let you off the without any, I don't know, connection to the terminal. You just go down the steps. And the first time I breathed in this Irish air, it's just something very familiar, like something you can't explain, but you can really feel that.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think after being in Ireland several times, I feel that Russian and Irish are somewhere like there. I can see similarities here and there. I don't mean drinking, but just like when you open up your heart to your neighbor, to your whatever, whoever you are, whoever with you in a pub or whatever. It's something like very. We both famous poetry and we've both been through wars and this kind of traumatic experience, but still, even with singing, I think that something is in there because it's a huge Russian tradition. Then you sit around the table and you sing songs while before, after you've ate, and I think it's a kind. I can see the cinema, but it's something different. I think, but I really can't explain it.
I I love that story. I did not know that, and I do see that connection. I also think that the with the Russian troubles, with the Irish troubles that they're doing, and you guys have had your own share of strong political issues and stuff, so I could see that.
Mhm.
And it's Pete Seeger-ish, how can I stop singing, right? And which goes, all right, Kate, why did you want to talk? You shared a little bit about that you have a feeling toward this live in Dublin, but talk a little bit more about why this was an album that speaks to you so much.
When I went through your list, when you shared the list and people been choosing
Hmm.
this and that album, I think that the thing that really surprised me was no one would choose this one. Because
Hmm.
for me, Seeger Session is a kind of era phase that Bruce went through, it really speaks to me in terms of, I think it's just joyous. I think
Hmm.
that it's so rich in arrangement and there's so much creativity, like they rearrange his own songs. And the way when they're live, I don't particularly listen to the Seeger Sessions album, which is like a studio based. I think that
Right.
these songs come alive only in concert with the audience singing, with Bruce being silly, and with the entire band just coming together for this, dare I say, spiritual experience. Every Bruce concert is a spiritual experience, but with these songs particular, because I think maybe because you have all this, like I mentioned, the troubles, you have the songs written or about the Civil War, about the Peninsular War, about the Great Depression, about this connection with Ireland and that America and all this traumatic experience that they put to the songs. But then there's a piercing light shining through. And you can just feel that. And it's filled my heart with so much joy and also living through, because I heard a lot of people saying that I'll go to the rock show or I go to the concert because I want to forget about my own problems or about my troubles. But
Yeah.
actually, I go to the shows to live through them because they help me to make sense of it, let's say. So
I
this is the spiritual experience. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, and I love that story. I am right there with you. When the Seeger Sessions came out, of course, I'm thrilled. It's a brand new Bruce album, and I was okay. I didn't love it. It took me a while, and I've told this story before, Kate, that I think the biggest issue is that he doesn't do Froggy Wintercorton the way that my dad did, so therefore I don't like it. Which is just, I know that
Right.
makes no sense, but when I bought, so I had no interest in seeing the episode, right? I was like, no, I'm good. And then when I heard live in Dublin, I went, oh my gosh, I missed it. Why wasn't I at that show? Talk to me about your experiences that, you had the Seeger session, you listened, and then when you got to hear the live show, tell me your thoughts.
Actually, I gotta say that I missed the entire Sega session tour because I wasn't aware of this existing and I wasn't a Bruce fan back there. So
Yeah.
now I feel like, oh, I'm just gutted. But, and even
Yeah.
more when I discover more and more of these live performances, but you can't have everything, can you? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell myself that. But I
Yeah.
think that these songs really come alive when they've been sung and been shared because it's like, it's the difference between watching, I don't know, a recorded theater performance and then be it in a theater sharing, because this is all about sharing. Even seeing a film in your comfort of your home, like we're now used to streaming, it's very different to share it with the audience being inside the cinema, even though the film is not live. You're experiencing it with the people around you and you can hear some reactions, someone's gasping or you feel that someone is so engaged and you share this experience with them, even if they're not your friends, even if you're going alone. I often go alone to Bruce shows, but this kind of feeling of togetherness, and not only togetherness inside the crowd, but to be there and to share this music, to the exchange of energies that you always have at a concert with your performer. And I think that this really clicks and everything just comes together when the songs are sung live. Because they probably, if you could think about songs like, I don't know, Jacob's Ladder, which will probably was sing among, I don't know, among during the Civil War among slaves, that you'll come together and sing them
Yeah.
together live and they will share it experience. So this is songs that needs to be shared and needs to be sung live, I think.
How often have you been able to see Bruce live?
That was my sixth, sorry, 16th
Mhm.
this year. I've been to Cardiff, Belfast, and then second show in London. I
Okay.
started in 2009, so my first
Okay.
show being working on a Dream
Hmm.
tour in Finland. Across these years, I've seen
Yeah.
him 16 times. Maybe it's not much for someone, but for me, traveling from Russia every time,
From
to
Russia.
plan a
Yes,
trip
I was
and
gonna say
everything and stuff
he
like.
he's never played Russia, has he?
No, no,
No.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I think
Mm.
that would be a lot of fun. I know he's never played.
To be
There's another
honest,
country. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't see much appeal for his music, sadly,
Okay.
across Russia. But we always, me and my friends, a couple of friends I have there, maybe 5 or 6 of them, will always joke when Bruce comes to Russia, we will be like writing 1, 2, 3, or 5 and 6 numbers on our hands and just stand there, just 6 of us. But I know that if he would come one day, I think people would be, if there's enough marketing and promotion and people would see that he is one of the artists who considered the best seen live, they would come just to see how it's done. Because I remember his show in Prague in 2012, and from the feeling from the audience that I got, that not many people knew who he was or his
Hmm.
music, but he got their own, all of them dancing in the three
Yeah.
hours that he did. And they even got past the curfew, I think. People were really digging his music, even though they never heard it before.
Yeah.
So I think
So
he has enough power to light up
I think
Russia.
so
So
too. And yeah, I'm gonna add this in, so I'll edit this in. Yeah. All right. Since you were like me, you didn't get to see the Seeger Sessions live or the
yeah.
tour. When did you pick up live in Dublin? And did you pick up the CD and the DVD?
I think it was the limited edition when they had CD and DVD together. I'm not sure that I'm getting it right, but I remember me and some friends from St. Pete's, and we were just, I don't remember the first time I heard it. I actually, when I discovered Seeger Sessions, I straight away I was just trying to find anything that they didn't live because I thought that it would be so much better live. Even though I love this little studio that everyone is so squeezed in the corridor and they are recording this. I really love it. This lovely atmosphere. But anyway, but I remember that I'll be putting that a lot with my friends from St. Pete's, and we will be just dancing in the kitchen around the table because you just can't not be. It's so infectious, this music, and you just can't stop dancing and tapping your feet. And when your right feet is too tired to tap, you just start tapping with your left one. It's just, I don't know how to explain that. You really need to. I don't understand Bruce fans who would say, "Phew, I don't like Seeker Session. It's not Bruce. I would not listen to that." I really think why I would never understand that. Maybe you had some experience with other fans who would say that they don't like Seeker Session, but I just can't find for the whole mind of me. I can't find the reason why would you not love this because it's so lovable.
We're recording this on a Saturday morning for me, a Saturday evening for Kate, and my previous episode that I recorded was about Only the Strong. And she said the same thing. I realize it's a covers album, but I love this album so much because it's Bruce's heart. She goes, it's the songs that helped influence him. And I think the Seeger
Exactly.
Sessions is the same thing, right? This is when he became aware of he wanted to be more than just someone singing about love and rock and roll and cars. I think Pete Seeger was a huge influence on him, and so that's on there. I always am a little jealous of people who are able to see the Seeger sessions live. It looks like, and a friend of mine said that it's as close to being, it's as close to God as he's ever felt. And he is not a religious person, but he said being in there, having the band playing, he felt that. And you mentioned a few minutes ago about that feeling of togetherness. I have a friend who is a very who is an atheist, and he says the only church I belong to is the Church of Springsteen, And the wonderful thing about it is every couple of years, the only donation he asks for me is the cost of a ticket. I go, I worship with the rest of the congregation. My soul is filled, and I go back and continue. Sounds like you have a similar experience.
Yes, very much. I think couldn't describe it better myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have, you'll talk to people and they'll say, well, is it weird going to a show by yourself? And I'm just like, you're never alone. I mean, it's, you're just sitting there and your new best friend is next to you, right? You're in line, you're waiting for it. So, yeah, I totally with you. All right, Ekaterina, let's talk for a minute. I'm going to give you, my guests have done this both ways. Sometimes they've gone through the album track by track. Others, they just talk about highlights. You tell me what you would prefer to do.
I think I prefer to do highlights, really. I
Okay,
think that
okay,
some of this, yeah, the experiences of some of the songs will be
okay,
similar
good.
to me.
All right, where do you want to start?
If I need to choose one highlight from this album,
And you were
I
allowed,
can't choose one basically,
yeah,
but
we're going to
yeah.
do several. Exactly, yes.
Okay, okay, perfect. The first thing that maybe that really struck me about how they were not this traditional songs that they were singing, but of course I love folk music, that I love these ones. But for me was a lot about the creativity around how they rearranged his own songs, and
Yes.
especially If I Should Fall Behind, in a way that I need to say that I need to get it off my chest. I'm not a big fan of the original recording of this song. I really love the lyrics, but I think it's just too slow, it's too dragging. And then this one, I don't know who was that ingenious idea to make it into a waltz, a wedding waltz. And it's just everything just falls into place with that. The violin started to play, and it's this waltzy feeling around that, and him and Patty sharing the mic, and it's their song, and you can feel the love and the energy. And I think it's the perfect choice for anyone's wedding anyway. And I think the song itself just sounds so much better, and with this arrangement with the full orchestra, it's almost you can just see someone is about to be wed, and it's really one of the highlights.
So if
Another highlight,
I'm
yeah,
gonna, I'll
sorry.
share my thoughts. So no,
Yeah.
this is my favorite version of the song.
Mm.
I am okay with the studio version. I understand what you're saying. I love when him and Patty do this live, but I agree with you. This version of, and my wife is not at times a fan of Bruce's voice. She's
Mm.
become a fan over the years, right? Because she had to. But
No choice.
yeah, but the opening of that, and I think it talks to the strength, and I've done this a couple of times, of there are certain Bruce's songs that are so elastic, so malleable, that you can change them into almost any format and they still work. And to have this one as a waltz is absolutely stunning. It is just so beautiful. I agree. It is my favorite version of him and her doing that. And I adore this version. The other thing is, I love Western Stars. Was huge fan of the album, huge fan of the album. But when the film came out, I adored it. But what bothered me is I was greedy. I wanted him to do some E Street songs with that band, right? I wanted
I
the
agree.
same
Well,
way the
Western
Seeger
Stars.
says, yes, with the Seeger session, I wanted that so much that we would have that. So Give me your thoughts on that.
Western Stars, would say it without even thinking that it is my favorite Bruce solo album, hands down. I think I found that it's just a perfect soundtrack for hiking. Wherever I
Oh,
go hiking, I just
interesting.
put it. Yeah, just if you absolute for this album, you absolutely need to listen it from the start to finish without skipping anything and without this stupid shuffle that we put on sometimes. Because I'm a big believer of that. If someone puts up an album and if he or she plays the certain songs in a certain order, it means that it has some story, it has some sense. It's not like
Yes,
randomly shoveling things around. So
right,
that's why I love to listen. I love this tour when Bruce did all albums, just the entire album, and then he would
right.
do some fans favorite. This is was my one of the favorite tours I've been but anyway, with Western Stars and with this sound, I just can't get over it really. And try it for hiking is just perfect. It just give you something extra to. And where were we talking about Western Stars all of a sudden?
Yeah, and that's okay. Just Linda, my wife, loves Wrecking Ball, and she says in her mind, anytime she's hiking, she hears, "We've been walking ground."
Yeah,
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 so she
yeah,
hears
yeah.
that rocky ground in her mind every time she's hiking. So yeah, I will have to tell her that story. Yeah, so one of the things, and the reason I'm bringing that up is that being greedy, the idea of having highway patrolmen, the other songs growing up in this style is so beautiful. So yeah, go ahead.
And it
I
makes
kind of
so much sense.
it
Yeah,
talk to me some more
yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that. So I'm gonna bring in the Atlantic City and growing up into this. I love how it sounds very starts very small with just the scene a bit darkened and just Bruce and his guitar. By the way, his looks and the way he dresses on this tour, I think it's just second to none. I just love that, but more about that later. And
Okay.
it just starts small with just spotlight on him, and he's been doing this little things with his guitar, and then the full band comes on and it comes in a full swing, and it just the song just opens up. And I don't know, there's a lot of songs, Bruce songs, that I love the modern rearrangements more than the original very scarce and very small sound that you had on the records, very scratchy. I know that's kind of, for example, this uh, the albums like Nebraska, it has its own charm being that way, being
Yeah.
recorded and just with him and his instrument. But then again, then you want to have a party, you want to have some fun. It's really cool to have another version of a song like Growing Up when that's so much fun. And even Atlantic City. What's interesting about his own songs made into this big house party one. And I think that he has this very deep understanding of what a traditional song is, what a folk song is, and you can really feel that these Seeger Sessions keeps coming back in his other albums, like Death to My Hometown, in his other songs, like like the songs inspired by this folk tradition. And maybe it's his Irish roots. I don't know what's talking here, but you can really feel that he's very tuned to that kind of storytelling himself. Reimagining his own songs into that kind of style, it's one of the things that really, really makes this special, I think.
I think you're right. And it is Atlantic City being from Nebraska, being that is another song that is very viable, right? Plowable. It there's been so many different versions of Atlantic City. People have covered it so much and the band doing it. And I love this version of it. It is rocking, right? And the I've already talked about, you mentioned Jacob's Ladder. So I'd love to talk about it. It is just it this feels as you said, it's a communal experience, right? You can almost see people standing up, singing together right after How Could a Poor Man Stand Such Time and Live? I love that
Love
song. I love the power of that. And then Jacob's Ladder does have that New Orleans Irish feel. It's really beautiful. Any thoughts on that one? You mentioned it a little bit, so I wanted to give you a chance to expand.
You mentioned maybe Jacob's Ladder is not my favorite, but I love, love, love How Can a Poor Man Stand Such Time and Live?
Okay.
I believe it's about Great Depression, right? So
Yeah,
it would
and
be a traditional song written
right.
around this time when.
And they changed the lyrics to about Katrina, the
Hmm.
hurricane in Katrina in New Orleans. And I'm
Yeah, I
from
remember that.
Louisiana. Yeah. So let's talk about
Oh,
that. Yeah. Super. Thoughts on Open All Night, which how did you this Nebraska song become such a rock and roll
I don't know,
jam
God,
session?
you just really need to dig d deep down into the because I imagine that all these songs like Atlantic City, they comes from a very poignant, traumatic place. And I feel this connection with the Irish songs and Irish storytelling. For example, if you take some Irish folk songs that are sound, if you only listen to the rhythm and listen to the way it expands and to the music, you could not even guess that the lyrics are so sad. I think it's real deal about this Irish songs that they could, or folk songs, but not being Irish exactly. Like you take a very sad lyrics and you make it into something like a party. I think maybe it's that feeling of like self-protection, like you want to survive through that. For example, I think the perfect example of that is Oklahoma Home. My Oklahoma home is blown away. Let's have a party.
Yes.
It sounds like if you don't know, if you don't understand the words, you would probably think it's about something joyous and everybody's having a good time and we love our life and that kind of. It's a little bit. If you look at it like that, it's like the dissonance. You can feel the dissonance in there in the lyrics and in the way it's presented. But then again, I think it's the survival. I don't know how it's called anyway.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I think that people needed that to live through these troubles, to live through this traumatic experience. They needed to pump it up. They needed to express in such a way that they can feel alive again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I said another really well said. And it is often Bruce does this, right? Of Born in the USA has this booming rock anthem with and which is why many people misunderstand the
The
meaning of the
most
lyrics.
misunderstood song, I think, in his career.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Did the yeah, I think that's really well said. I was able to hear him when he did the Devils and Dust tour in Dallas. He did My Oklahoma Home, and I remember really loving that and was surprised that he got it. A couple other highlights that you may want to mention, please.
Oh, I'm not going to talk about this particular songs, but
Okay,
the way some things that he does, I love that. First of all, I love the variety of instruments. That's not
sure.
they're more folky, not rocky, like penny
Hmm.
whistle or they even got a washboard, I think, at some point. There's all these accordions, steel guitars, and banjos. And I love how Bruce would come around. He's almost sometimes doing it with the street band also, and just lean into this performer and let them shine, let them have this solo of this little moment of them. And he would just play his rhythm guitar alone, and he would do these rounds and would be just highlighting every instrument in the room. And I think this is his signature thing that he would do, and I really love him for that. And I love that you can really see the quality of the musicians there, the harmonies,
Yes.
the vocals,
Hmm.
everyone is just on the top of their game, and you know that you have the best musicians in singing and playing together. because I don't believe it's easy actually to play with Bruce because he's so spontaneous.
Yeah.
And so you really need to be on your toes. You really need to be there and to feel that, because none of his musicians or him are never on autopilot. I've
No.
seen some shows by other performers, by other bands, and you can just see that they just rushing through the song. And Bruce never does that. He always feels something when he sings. And I think this is um, one of the reasons that he's so good live, and one of the reasons people are so drawn into his live performances, because they know that he always giving his best and he never is on autopilot.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. And even as you mentioned, the sad songs have so much joy in the performance. They are having fun on this on stage. And
You
I
can really
just
tell.
you really can. Yeah, you really can. So I did want to ask you some couple thoughts of some of my favorites. I know you generally talked about
Yeah, I'm sorry,
sure,
can I
please.
sneak in another favorite?
Yes, please.
Mrs. McGrath. I think
Oh,
this is just, oh, I was transfixed when I first saw it.
hmm,
The song is just, it's the best. First of all, it's the best storytelling. It's really honest
yeah.
and it's really raw. And musically, it's not maybe very rich with the spectrum, but the atmosphere, it just draws you in and it just crawls under your skin.
Hmm.
Oh my God. I don't know, I would really love to be able to hear it live, to soak it up, because when you hear something live, something like, I don't know, My City of Ruins, for example,
Yes.
it's like a whole again, I'm saying that again, it's such a cliche, spiritual experience, but I can't find another word for it. And it's really is just, it's nothing like hearing or seeing it on YouTube, right? So Mrs. McGrath is one of the songs which really stands out for me, and it is so devastating, and I don't know, just the best example of the Irish storytelling, I think.
It is, and it is so sad. And the when you hear this and the 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 pain of losing someone and the devastation of war is really well done on that. So I absolutely agree. I talking about spiritual, the when the Saints go marching in, since I did grow up in Louisiana, and I just was complaining that he did not do Froggy Court the way my dad did. This is the most unique version of Will the Saints Go Marching In, and I adore it. I really love it. And I grew up in going to church camp, and This Little Mine was a song that we would sing. And I love the slower version of Will the Saints Go Marching In, and then that going into that rocking piano and doing This Little Light of Mine, just it brings joy to my heart. Any thoughts on that?
How Bruce can jump in from one emotion to the other. But
Hmm.
this little light of mine, when he says that everybody stands up and they
Yeah,
just like a, they having a house party basically,
yeah.
and just everyone's in that. That's why I think it being such a amazing band put up on stage and Bruce on the top of his game, but it would be nothing without the audience, and audience is there. You can't fail Irish audience. They were always ready to sing, always ready to jump, always ready to dance their shoes off. And I think it was a brilliant choice of the audience to have their recording in because of this. Maybe because I don't know, maybe Bruce did because of this connection, maybe his own, like being from the heritage of his being from
Mhm.
the Irish father, maybe because some of the songs were Irish songs, or but
Mhm.
I do believe that it's because the audience responds in such a sincere and just the taking of prisoners, just just dancing away. And I've been among Irish audience a couple of times at Bruce shows in Cork and in Belfast. And it's one of my favorite crowds. A very special, this feeling of togetherness. Maybe there's something very ancient about this land and about these people. And they do understand traumatic experience, how you live through them through the song. So they've been there and they fully embrace it and understand it, I think.
Yeah, Kate, I would love to go to a show in Ireland. It's on my, wish list. I think there is a sense of joy. Only attended shows in the US, but I do know there is a special energy on the European shows and yeah, I think there's a reason why like they released the Live from Hyde Park, they did the Barcelona, and then this
Oh,
Ireland, right? That sharing these concert films that are there in Europe. Yeah. And then I had someone mention that Chris Bloom said that this is one of my top 5 albums of 12, which is his
hmm,
way of saying I can't get it. So I'm going to say that this is one of my top, American Land is one of my top 10 songs of 50. I love American Land. I think
love it.
American Land is what Born in the USA people think it's about, but
Hmm.
American Land, the idea that so many people want to come to America, right? It is the land of hope and dreams.
Yeah.
And the idea that the people that built this country, they're always trying to keep out. It, we talk about this often, especially during this political time, that some people are quick to shut the door. Once they arrive, they want to shut the door, forgetting that they were lucky enough to come in. From a Russia perspective, from someone who's not grown up in America, your thoughts on American land?
I love American Land. First of all, again, this is the great example of lyrics being very saddened, but it's wrapped it up in a little rapper, which is so joyous. And whenever it starts to play, you just feel like jumping along. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that America, US, is so unique, such a unique country in a way, because it's so young in terms of when
yeah.
if you compare it to other ancient
Oh, it is.
countries,
We are.
and
Yeah,
it's still and it was built up by immigrants coming from Europe when
yeah,
trying to find a better life. And of course, this migrations happened a lot throughout the world, but America is unique in a way that it's so young, and it happened in such a recent history. And of course, all this, the way that Indians were dealt with, I just
yeah,
some of the very, very tragic events that happened on
yeah,
this land, and the people coming from different parts and building up something new and something they believed in. And of course, nowadays it's challenged. The American dream, what's that? What's freedom? Does really America stands to the promise it made to
yeah.
anyone who came? But I think it's so brilliantly done with Bruce. He just knows how to write the song, doesn't he?
Yeah, it does. And it is, we made the steel that built the cities with the sweat of our 2 hands.
Mhm.
We made our home in this American land. I just love the song. I think it is a wonderful anthem of what's good about this country and also how we're still not hitting that American dream. And I believe that it is patriotic to point out if we are not hitting the goals that we should set ourselves. We should be trying to be kinder and more forgiving as a nation and as a country and as a person. So, yeah, I agree with you. I've already shared I'm not a fan of Froggy When It Courtin', but are there any songs that don't work for you? And you can say that with love in your heart. It's okay if there's any that don't, but are there any that just don't quite work for you?
I have a list of songs in front of me. There's 20 songs, including American Land. I go through them. I can't find any because I there are some songs on some Bruce albums I always skip, and I'm not ashamed to say that. You can't love everything,
Right.
but particularly this I just can't. If I am to choose my least favorite, maybe will be Eyes on the Prize because I think it's a little bit slow
Okay.
for but can't really choose one. They
Okay.
all,
That's fine.
yeah,
Okay.
I enjoy them all.
Perfect. All right. Any final thoughts before I get you out of here, Katrina?
Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to thank you for making because coming up to this one, I made myself to re-listen to this. It was such a joy to discover. It was discovering something for the very first time when you had a long time not listening to something. And I don't know. I really wanted to mention the way Bruce looks on this record, his little scarf, and even his guitar, so scruffy, and the way it's very folky look. And I love this attention to detail because Bruce always has that. And on this tour, he really dig up something that would speak to this folky style. And with the whole band, I think did. They really, really look very stylish, in my view, anyway. So yeah, I think that's it's just one of the albums that would. I know that sometimes you have uh, some album and say I like it now, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna love it in 5 or 10 years time.
Right.
With Live in Dublin, I can be assured that I'm gonna love it till the day I die, really, because it's just you really cannot. I would marry this album if I can.
I love that. That's good. All right. I am going to throw you a curve real quick. I noticed that you posted, we're recording this on November 23rd, which is Doctor
Ooh,
Who
Doctor
Day.
Who Day.
Yes.
Ooh. Yes, I'm a big fan.
Tell me a little bit about that. How did you
Oh
find
God,
Doctor Who?
my friend, she found it first and she would like, you're not ready for this because it's a bit weird in a way that. But then one day she would say that now you're ready. And we were watching this first episode of a new Doctor Who from 2005 with Christopher Eccleston. And wherever that moment when he takes Rose's hand and says run in his northern accent, it was just at this moment I was sold completely. And I don't know how many years later I'm still here and I'm enjoying it a lot. There are some I was not particularly fond of Chris Chibnall area with Jodie Whittaker because I think the scripts drag, they were very mediocre and not Doctor Who level. But now
I
Russell is back and everything just shines again. And I
I
love Ncuti Gatwa. I think he's brilliant.
I love Chudy too. I think he's wonderful as the Doctor. I liked I wish Jodie had gotten a little better scripts.
Yeah,
I
she's
think
so good.
she is so good on that. Yes, and I love the new version, and I really think that they came back strong. And the just so many I agree with you. I just am really happy. I'm excited about the Christmas special. I am so ready for yeah. Who's your favorite Doctor?
You never forget your first doctor, I think.
Yes.
So I really want to say Chris Eccleston. I thought that he had said so little time on the show and he would be just so, so good if they let him do more because first season of the reboot, it's always kind of season when you are getting used to. But I know everybody loves David Tennant and I
Sure.
do too, but maybe my second favorite would be
Yeah, I love
because you
Capaldi
can
too.
just really feel that he is fun himself. He's been writing to BBC since the age of 6, right?
Yeah,
And I just really loved his look. He's very old school and the way he played guitar and looked really cool. I'm a big fan of Peter Capaldi as an actor. I think he's just
yeah,
really nailed it. And after Matt Smith, who I really
yeah.
like as well, I'm not a big fan of his companions.
Right.
I don't think they were the best. I don't think actually it works when the companions is a couple because they always wander off.
Okay.
And Doctor needs someone to look after him. And I really love the the couple, Dr. Companion, Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman. I think
Yeah.
worked really well. Like she's
Yeah.
been so emotional and he's not being a hugger and everything, like a bit grumpy, all that.
Yes.
I just really enjoyed this episode.
I love, and I was so struck with Dot and Bubble, with the ending up with him and Ruby. And for those of you guys who have not seen it, it's such a strong episode because they choose not to trust the doctor because he isn't the same skin color as them. And it's so, I did not see that coming when I
Mm,
watched the first
me
episode.
neither.
And then when I watched it the second time, like all the signs are there. I don't usually make my parents, gosh, I don't make my wife and son watch Doctor Who, but I asked them, I said, would you please watch this episode? And they were shocked at the end and really loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
think
Well,
that yeah, I think it's great when some popular TV show just gets the message across and just puts these little things, so it serves as a platform to talk about serious and important
mhm,
things, even if it's wrapped up as entertainment. So I
yeah,
think Doctor Who really does that, and I still can't stop quoting this Stephen Moffat: "Doctor is a superhero that didn't give him superpower, that gave him a second heart." And I think it's the essence of the show.
I do think it is. I think it is all about compassion and love, and we need more of that in this world. Absolutely. Thank you for letting me talk a little Doctor Who. That's always fun. So, Kate, if someone wants to reach you, what's the best way?
I think through Facebook, just send me a private message. I will be
Okay.
lovely to meet new Bruce friends or Doctor Who friends for that matter.
Absolutely. Perfect. All right. I just want to tell you how much I loved visiting with you. Let's do this again in
Me
January or
too.
February, okay? I'll send you
Yeah,
some
thank you for
Saturday and
having
Sunday
me.
morning. No, I love this. This is great. Listeners, all I can urge you is to please pull out that Live in Dublin, open your heart, clear your mind, and get lost in the joy of that musical journey.
Here.
Ekaterina, thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank
Listeners,
you so much.
remember to be safe, be kind, and we'll talk to you soon. Goodbye. And that's
Bye
it. We're
bye.
done. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I had the best time.